People not knowing
Now I'm gonna get some headphones.
to understanding everything, including hashtags and at symbols and why we want to do it and practicing it. That's about an hour and a half. And
Okay,
then
what?
we go
Okay.
further.
What happened to you, my friend? Yeah. Now wait a minute. I got no microphone. Is your mic on?
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
My toddler, we were playing football and his head just went right into my eye.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Sorry, man.
And snotting, mostly by me.
That's a half day on
Let me grab some headphones.
That's a lot on my calendar, but no, that's awesome. So what dates are you thinking? If you would like, I can give you some days that are open right now. If we're looking for the month of October and November, though, most of those days, and even quite a bit into December is full. And I'm looking at January. I've got 1 week open, but I know that we had a conversation today that might fill that one. So it'll be a hit and miss here and there. So if you want me to just drop the days to you that are open. Okay, October 19, 20, 21 looks good. Any of those days. And that's it for October.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes. Now how was the background noise?
The 19th and the
I can
20th.
hear. I mean, I can hear it, but
She'll be done with that conversation in a few minutes.
okay, good deal. So we actually have, a couple of people already viewing, even though it doesn't start till 4 o'clock, but we have some early birds. So
Cool.
That's it for
which is great.
November.
So we have Madeline and Courtney. Looks like they are here already, but that's okay.
Should I open up chat?
Yeah, let's do that.
And that'll be it for December. Unless you say
I've been practicing a song this morning, trying to figure it out. So I'm kind of in this music mode.
Are you in Kansas right now?
Yes, I'm in the home office. And I got all my stuff all over the place.
Do you think you can catch any of those
Wow.
You should see the rest of the room, man. I come home, I explode, everything goes everywhere. I organize.
This is my little cubicle. Like literally, it's just like a little office, but it's all good. So,
Yeah, it looks kind of like my situation here.
yeah.
Yeah.
The 22nd.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Yes.
Yeah, I
And
feel like
So what's
every
been going on?
a new person joins, I feel we need to explain why I have a black eye. But
Oh, I'm sorry.
probably what it's going to be.
You need to get a little base, a little foundation on that sucker too.
I know I should have
Or it gets a little
concealer.
more. Okay.
Do you have a MacBook Pro?
You know what? I want an Air, MacBook Air.
For our going to work, what I could do is I could actually hand you to someone else who might have a more open calendar. If that's an option for you. And I could tell them what I do and kind of give them a heads up. And one of the people who you might be interested in, his name's Kevin Case. He's a superintendent at Inman. And he really does great stuff with social media, especially from an educator's point of view, and to talk about from a leader. And then also he's written a book called 20 Days, which is, I use that book to help guide people when I'm talking about Twitter. And it's his book. So he might have more options for you that would work. I mean, I want to do it. I do. But if those dates don't work, that's where I'm at.
All right, we got some more folks pouring in. Hey guys.
How do you see them? I don't see all the people.
Okay, so I'm gonna send you a link to the event page too. So like I can have two windows open. So I can see you and then I can see the event. I'll just drop you that link real quick.
That could happen.
I don't want it to throw your ADD into a tailspin now. There you go.
Throw my what into a tailspin?
I don't know. You said you were ADD the other day. You're like, I don't know if I can handle having a chat going on at the same time.
I just took medication, so I'm probably okay. There it is.
So I kind of have like split windows, so I can see you and I can see. And we'll probably have about 79. Should have like 79 people. All of our representatives from the campuses, so it'll be a big group. So.
Throw my what into a tailspin?
So you want to not press play because you'll have a delay.
I think I threw my ADHD into a tailspin.
Yeah. So
just
yeah. So on the other one, stop. Like just basically don't watch it at the same time.
Walk around.
Yeah.
Things like that.
It's the way to go.
Yeah.
To practice, and then even to sometimes look at some of those darker apps. And if that doesn't work, because I can also just access it on my phone and show.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that. And
different levels of the teachers they do have a different level than what the students do.
okay, and then some of those we may want to just see if they have access and then block them. I'm not going to lie about that. Not all of them, but yeah. And then I can show them on my phone, and they can look on their phone too, because they need to see what it looks like. And again, a lot of this conversation will be really positive about.
Hello, guys.
Hey, Angie.
How are y'all?
Good.
Sure.
Doing okay here.
I'm going to drop you a link to the event page, or do you already have it?
Oh, yes, yes. You're Derby, you are not a member school district for ESDAC, right? So that would be a $1,200 day plus expenses. In other words, be mileage and if there's lunch involved, sort of. So that's what the cost would be.
Do. That you can live by.
Absolutely, I can do that probably by the end of today. Awesome. Well, and if there's anything that you need from me as we get closer to the date, just don't be afraid to reach out. I'll probably reach out a few days before. My guess is if you're being proactive, that's not going to happen. And so, but that being said, I don't count chickens until they're hatched. Yes, TWIRTY, Twerty Days. I can send you the link where to get that too. Because honestly, right now I've been working with the school out in Western Kansas, and I said, "You guys have Twitter accounts?" "Yes, we do." I said, "Are you using them for educational purposes, or did you just make them and have 20 followers?" And they're like, "Well," I said, "Okay." And I brought out the book and I said, "If you want, take a look at this." And they borrowed the book from me, and I just got a tweet from 2 of them today that said, "We're starting the challenge tomorrow." I said, "Good for you." So can't wait to see how that goes.
I appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you on the 20th.
Okay, sounds great, Shirley. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Sound check. Test 1, 2. How is sound?
You sound great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How's my beard look? Does my
It
beard
looks
look okay?
stellar, my friend.
Little tired, man.
Yeah, I need to tend to mine for sure.
Yeah.
It's okay. All right, I3s that are jumping in already. So glad you guys are here. We're going to be officially starting at 4 o'clock. So we're just kind of bantering back and forth right now. So glad y'all are here.
This is Brian. You should come over here. Say hi to these guys. My colleague Ginger's kind of hanging out.
Ginger, what a great name. That's my mother-in-law's name.
That's his mother-in-law's name. Is that good news?
Yes. At least it's not his dog's name. Everybody has a dog named Ginger.
Well, put this away.
No, that was
I was gonna do a little,
nice. That was really nice.
do a little pre-show, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm. Did I bring my steampunk guitar down there when I was there?
Yes.
Cool. I traveled with it yesterday.
I was going to say, a lot of these folks may not have seen it, so...
Difficulties. Check your connectivity. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. I lost you for a second, but you're back.
We've been having some network difficulties. It seems like it hiccups. I'm hoping it doesn't do it in the next 30 minutes.
Hey. If it does, we'll just roll with it. So.
Cool.
Yep.
Brian, do you have your guitar ready as backup in case there's difficulties?
I have my air guitar. I'll just start strumming. Or no, I can do the iPad. I'll get the guitar on my iPad.
Nice.
So when it starts, I'm just going to like take this black eye of myself off and just have my picture, just so y'all know. So.
I think it makes you look tough, you know? Like,
It does.
It does look better today.
It does. It does. Some essential oils on it are helping. So that's good.
You got a ninja toddler.
Yeah. Yeah. It was very graceful, I might add, when he was flying at my face. All right. Janelle's in. Stacy's in. So just so you know, Kevin, this is our first time using Hangout on air.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. So I'm just trying to figure out, you know, like I know people are coming in live, but then if they start and they come in later, I think they're actually going to be watching it from the beginning, if I'm understanding
cool.
that right. I think they can catch up, like if they drag the, you know, time. So it may make it interesting if people are posing questions. So I just say go for it with your message, and you know we'll kind of see how things roll on the back end because we're definitely learning how this works.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of y'all watching, we have about 9 minutes until we officially start. For those of y'all that are not watching live, it doesn't matter. You can advance your your time ahead 9 minutes and catch the beginning. Talking to you in the future. That's exciting.
I should take this up to the big server room and have like that really cool server room background.
Yeah.
Then it'd be like I was on a Borg ship or something.
The knock.
Yeah. Let's see here. Unplug this. Unplug this. A little tired. It's still a 5-month-old at home who's not sleeping a whole lot.
Oh, that's right.
So yeah, I'm kind of just getting through. My wife is taking the brunt of it, but there's a lot of exhaustion going on at my house right now. But beautiful exhaustion. Lovely.
Yes, it is beautiful, but it is exhaustion.
Yeah.
So Kevin, Angie, and Kathy are at a conference,
Oh,
right?
cool.
So they're piping in from there. They are not in their houses. Just want to get that out there. So they're hard at work. So.
But I assumed that, I would never assume anything.
That's also why we have our microphones muted, because the 2,000 people are walking out right now, and we didn't want it to mess up your audio.
A likely story. Angie, I'm going to forward you an email. See if you can maybe communicate with her. She's having some connection issues, but I wonder if we should call Rusty.
It sounded like an F-16 taking off of a
I know, right?
deck of an aircraft carrier.
I know.
That's pretty good graph. I didn't know.
Jackie Chan, that thing.
Jackie's an old guy who still has moves. Okay, got my headphones back on.
So I know we have some folks that are going to be viewing this like from their iPad or from their phone, so they're not going to be showing up in the chat. Like we have about twice as many people actually viewing this right now as are showing up. Yeah, so that's okay.
When you're doing these, it's kind of fun sometimes to pretend you froze. Just go.
Yeah, just act like you're frozen.
Yep. Intermittent
Yeah.
packet loss.
Yes.
We should all take a screenshot of everyone pretending we're frozen.
Yeah.
We're like a bunch of monkeys poking a carcass.
I know. I'm getting some emails. Hang on.
Maybe I should just unplug. Let me see if I get a better microphone. No, you can hear okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Your inbox is blowing up.
It is, well, I have people saying that I need to resend the link, apparently. So I'm going to do that right now.
Cool. What is your Twitter name?
Brian H. Dean 98.
Brian H. Dean. You said Brian H. Dean.
98. That's BRIANHDEAN 98. Kevin, did we lose you?
When you start.
2 minutes. Yeah.
There we go.
Hey, I had a hiccup in the network again. Yay.
Okay. No worries.
I thought you were pretending to freeze again, Kevin.
See, that's why it's good to do that in advance. Yeah.
Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate the shout out.
I just wanted to see if I could hear your phone buzz whenever someone followed.
I had muted myself. Yeah. Just you want to just like my phone to explode on camera? Yeah. That's what's gonna happen.
Is this the noisiest day here in the world, or what? First we had the people outside, and whatever that was, a rhino, whatever was next door.
Yes, the wildlife.
You know, I'm in the home office, which is an educational service agency, and I'm sitting in one of the conference rooms where we do staff development.
Okay, Angie and Kathy, I should have had y'all fielding some of these texts because like literally every device I have is like blowing up right now. So, okay. All right, let's go ahead and get started. It is 4 o'clock, so we have people watching, our i3 members watching on YouTube. We have some watching through Google+. So without further ado, we have Angie and Kathy as well watching over in Dallas. They were at a conference today. Hey, everybody. For those of y'all that were at GISD Icon, you remember Kevin Honeycutt well. He gave a lot of time to us that day, and we learned a lot. He is at his home, or his home office, I should say, in Kansas. He at an educational service center there. So he's at home this week. So we are so glad he's here. Kevin, I know I've told you this before, but our I3s are master teachers at their campus, and they are tasked with basically encouraging that growth mindset in 21st century skills and digital tools and integration of them. And they do a great job providing PD for our teachers and everything like that. So we are so glad you're here. Without further ado, I'm going to mute myself and turn it over to Kevin.
Okay. If anything gets weird, no, I'm hearing myself for your speakers every time I talk.
I'm going to mute that. Yeah.
Okay. Testing 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's better. Okay, just let me know if you stop hearing me or anything goes weird. Okay, so first of all, I'm honored to get to talk to you Jedis, and I'm going to call you Jedis henceforth because I believe that what you're doing is really powerful, and I want to back your play. What I thought I'd start by doing is kind of telling you my little journey in the same space that you're in. So I do what you do. I go and I talk to faculties. I do it a lot of people at a time, and I do it in a different city every day. And so in the last 11 years, I've learned a few things about how to get people to move along and how to help them. So I'm just going to give you some of those pointers, and then I'm going to shut up for a while and see if you have questions. I like to save part of this for something I call Ask Me Anything, because I don't know, some of your questions may prompt better stuff than I'm saying. Okay, so as you're looking at growth and you're looking at skills and you're looking at integration, what do those things mean? I think as you're building people up, and a big part of your job is building people up, okay? So I would say it's like a NASCAR pit crew, but it's not, because all they do is put the car back together the way it was. You guys are a NASCAR pit crew that's adding a new engine and adding a new paint job and making the car better and under pressure. So, you know, I think that analogy works. But as you're building these people up and you're building their confidence, commensurate to that, has to be a model for telling the story of their success. You know, and you can't wait for them to do it, because most of them won't. Most of them are either too busy, too humble, too shy. So you almost got to automatically tell the story of, number one, this teacher tried this great, bold thing, yay, and look at these kids. Look what it did for this classroom. How wonderful. And a lot of districts will do this, and they'll think of it as PR that they put out to the district, which is wonderful that the taxpayers get to hear that. But I'm convinced if the people inside the district don't learn about each other's efforts, no culture is ever built. It's one person over here and one person over there, and you get these wonderful pockets of great things. But as people start to learn that other people are trying big things, that starts to move you along. And so as their skills grow, you know, how will we showcase their skills? How will we showcase their skills to one another? So are there events that they get together and they get to do some intellectual speed dating where they talk about their favorite 5 things, their favorite 5 things they've used? Now the only problem with this, all of you guys taking your cameras off, is if I freeze up, I won't know it. So if one of you stays live, then I'll know that I'm still connected. It could be anybody. There you go. Woohoo! Just one. Yay! So now I got 2. That's cool. All right. So, you know, what have I learned over the years as a school board member? And this is, as a tech leader and a school board member, I've learned that it's really, really hard to get teachers to tell their own stories, that we almost can't give them a choice. We've almost got to capture their stories for them, especially in the beginning, as you're bringing them along, and take lots of pictures, and get them so used to people taking pictures that it disappears. As a former wedding photographer, I learned to get there early, and once everyone got used to me, they stopped seeing me, and then I could get good pictures. So, you know, how are you going to get good pictures? And you start looking for the pictures that tell the story, not just pictures, but pictures of engaged kids, pictures of happy parents, pictures of kids holding up final projects, and video. And that stuff starts to become something the district is proud of. And I like to say this, people will protect and support what they've learned to be proud of. And it's our job to do that too. And I know it's hard because we've got to move people along, train them, support them, and tell their stories. That's a lot. That's a lot. For me, I do most of this with my phone. I don't have time to bring in a crew or anything like that. But I know it's crucial that I tell these stories. And I find that when people are proud, they want to do it again. Just like kids. It's exactly like kids. A kid has a good day, they ask when they get to do it again. We're in that same place, really, I think. And as you're looking at integration, you know, what does that mean? You know, as you get together as a team and you decide, I go to one district and they think if everyone's got a smart board, they're integrated. Or, hey, leave me alone, I'm already using PowerPoint. I see it all in my job. Oh my gosh, you know, ugh. I've seen the best and I've seen the worst and everything in between. Now, how will your team keep its eyes on the best? How are you monitoring? What schools are you looking to? What models are you looking to? What people on Twitter are you following so you can keep feeding that vision? Because you'll have a vision and the year starts and you milk the vision like it's a poor little cow. You milk it till it's anorexic and there's no more milk in the cow. You've got to keep putting milk in the cow, and so how do you do that? And to me, I have to look at examples. I would hope you guys are sort of furiously, constantly digging for, first of all, who's doing it better than you, and then get mad and do it better than them. And then find the next one, and then find the next one. I think you guys are world class. I think you're ahead of most people. And I want you to get proud about that. And I want your teachers to be proud about that. Not for themselves, but on behalf of those kids who you're getting ready for the future, you know, and that should be a pep rally, you know. There's got to be events that look just like a pep rally where people can celebrate the success you've had with tech integration, you know, and you got to get your teachers talking, your leaders talking. Here's one more thing that no one thinks about: the would-be advocate. The would-be advocate. Okay, who is that? That's the person who's almost doing it. Now here's what I do, and you don't have to do this, but if you want it, you can steal it. I kept going back to the usual suspects, the Jedi leaders, the masters, and bragging about their use of the Force. And the Padawan learners started hating them, and me, and the Force. So what I decided I have to do is go to the Padawans and make a huge deal out of them. But first I talk to the masters and say, guys and girls, I know you're doing great things. Please understand we see you. In fact, that's why we're sending you to conferences, to build up your Jedi powers. But you're going to see us making a big deal out of people who've barely moved. This is very much on purpose, so please help us with this. When they know why you're doing that, they don't feel like you're cheating them somehow, or you've stopped noticing them or recognizing them. But as long as we were going to the usual suspects, the chasm of use was getting wider. As soon as we went to the would-be advocates and built them up, and often we had the Jedi Masters do it, and then we just kept doing it generationally as it went down farther and farther until we had all of them. And this is a constant thing, of course. You're always having to keep rebuilding culture and investing in culture and things like that. I'm going to hush for a minute, Brian, and see if there are any questions that have been asked that I can answer.
Okay, great. Hey guys, if you could post to a comment wherever you're viewing, we will be happy to take some. Kevin, until we get some, I really like what you're saying about how sometimes we, you know, a tendency is to praise those that are doing it the right way, you know, which is great, and we should, but also kind of going to the ones that are almost there. I like that a lot. So
you guys know that in a perfect world we could just go to the ones who are doing it right and say, see guys, now copy this. But it's not a perfect world. There's some leftover vestiges of things in education. They're accidental inheritances, if you will, of a competitive society, of a building full of specialists who share a common parking lot but not a common vision. And what I'm convinced they need things to say. They got to call something. They need marching orders. It's something to be proud and to rally around. We do it with sports. We have a mascot. What are we doing with this initiative? Does it have a mascot? Or does it have a version of the mascot wearing headphones and holding an iPad? Is there some way that we can give it the same kind of pride so people can see this is teamwork, that we're doing this together, we're collaborating, and that's how we win. And guys, when we win, kids win. Again, you keep saying things they can hold on to, because they're going to get tired, and they're going to get frustrated, and they're going to get scared. And 99% of this job, in my opinion, is building people up and feeding them through the hard times. Feeding them through the hard times. And the good thing about capturing pictures and video, you guys, is you don't have to post them right away. In fact, I would get in a room and I would plan program releases throughout the year, so that you're going to showcase this in October, November, December, because everyone knows there are lulls in a school year. There's that long time between Christmas and spring break that you lose a lot of the work that you've done, because people are tired, they get negative, and you end up putting out fires that should never have started. And I think you can quench those fires with good PR and surprise people by posting a video of a would-be advocate who never wanted to use technology, and suddenly she's a rock star of October,
Right.
Almost,
Hey, I got a question in from Stacia. She's saying, how do we encourage this mindset when technology is somewhat limited on the campus?
Yeah, I'm convinced that if you have nothing but an abacus, you can still do this.
Right.
You can talk about the people who are using that well, and the people who are writing a grant for the stuff they don't have. You don't have to make it sound like sour grapes, like we don't have things. You tell the story of why they need things. So you're probably going to be more motivated to talk about iPads if you don't have them and want them, if I said, tell me what you think you might do with them. And that's a story. That's a story the taxpayers should hear too, and the parents should hear. If you're going to build this thing and get people to support it, they have to know the missing piece in most of this is why. We talk about what and we talk about how, but we rarely talk about why. We talk about it a little at the beginning, but through the whole thing has to be why, because we got to get these kids ready for a future we don't even understand, and they need these skills. That's one why. We need a collection of whys, and they should come out with all the stories. Why are teachers doing this? Because they want to do what's best for kids. Why are parents being asked to pay more tax dollars? Because it's crucial right now that we get their kids ready for the future. So you get whys all day long. People that are doing this work, why do I need to do that? Well, why should I do that? We get a lot of those. We should have pretty good practice in answering why, but I think we can be proactive and lead with why. If you do that, I think you answer some questions before they get asked. I don't know if I answered that question or not.
No, I think you did, absolutely. And we, all of our teachers in the district have an iPad in the room, so there's at least one in every classroom. Every classroom has at least two PCs in the available in the classroom. And then I like that you mentioned grants, because even in this group of folks that are watching right now, there are people that have written grants and gotten great things there. So
I'm loving that idea. And if your district policies aren't against it, I'm talking to teachers all the time, and I'm going, guys and girls, let's say, Brian, you want to raise $1,000 for an initiative. You and I on Twitter can do that in a week. There's some things you got to learn. You got to tell the story well. What's your why? You tell the story really well, because most of our audience are educators, and they're just going to want to say, why should I raise money for you? I don't have any either. You get that attitude, but if you have a good why, a convincing story, that works for taxpayers, works for school board, works for parents, and works on Pledge Sense or GoFundMe, right? And so I think that's one routine thing. Whenever you run into a barrier, you immediately learn how to make your plan to get over that barrier. Teach kids that too. I was in a district where I had one computer, and it was a piece of junk. That's how I started, and everything in my classroom came from telling good stories that made the district proud, and then support followed after that. But I cut my teeth on that. Without the story, nothing would have happened. And when they learned the why of what I was doing, then things got better. So I think one of the things we got to teach teachers beyond competency with these devices is to be proud of those things. Be proud that Mrs. Smith did something she was totally scared to do, and she did it anyway because it was the right thing to do. And when Mrs. Smith does it, what's your excuse? Again, I'm back to story. Any other questions?
Yes, we had a question roll in on Do you have any tips for, as a teacher, getting some admin support, for digital learning, for, integration?
Okay, please let me jump all over that one. Now I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it my way, and I may offend some people, but I'm gonna tell you how I do it, because how I did that became how I keynote, and became how I get 5,000 people to want to do the right thing. Number one, stories. Now, when you're telling a story about something you're going to do with technology you don't even have, you got to do a little research to try to guess what the effect might be. And so you tell a story. I used to literally write a story that would say, Mr. Honeycutt went into his room, all the kids were all engaged in their projects. Half of the class were sitting behind laptops and their faces were glowing as they were leaned into their learning. And the other half of the class was learning in analog and just as happy. At the halfway point, they all switched. I told that story as if it was true, so the board could fall in love with the vision of it. You know what I mean? I sort of primed the pump. I had to. And then I had to describe to them this success that was coming. And what I did every single time we had a success is that on the brochure, on the program book, on the whatever I put out, at the end it said, thank you for all of the support from USD 448 and an amazingly visionary governing board. They didn't help me at all, but I said it anyway. Before long, they thought they did, and then they thought they were supposed to, and then they did. I did that for 10 years. It became a joke with my kids. They'd go, Mr. Honeycutt, they didn't do anything. I know, not yet, but I gave them credit. That makes them feel like part of the team, and that's going to.
When I was growing up, if I really wanted something, try to make my dad, try to make it seem like it was his idea,
Yeah, give the idea. I heard once you can do anything in the world as long as you don't care who gets credit. I do this on the school board all the time. I'll put an idea out there. It gets voted against 4-1. 2 meetings later, someone else says my idea. I vote against it, and it wins 4-1. That's how I make change. I give it to someone else, but I also lead with the faces of other people. Tell the story, but tell it with a teacher's face. Tell the story, but tell it with the 2 kids who just wish they could do this one thing's face. How can you be against 2 kids?
All right, Kevin seems to have frozen for a minute, guys. I hope y'all are getting some nuggets of wisdom from him. I'm sure he'll be back in just a second. And if you want to be posting questions, free to email. Oh, he's back? All right, Kevin's back.
Sorry about that.
I was going to say, if you're having trouble posting a question, feel free to shoot me an email. I have, my device here, so if the comment isn't working, or text me if you know my phone number. All right, sorry, Kevin.
Including more people. And we were talking, my colleague Ginger Lumen is sitting over there. She does STEAM maker events and STEAM camps all around the country and travels like I do. And we've learned a whole lot about trying to change culture. That's one of the things we get hired to try to do. We have to do it in 2 days. You guys have every day. So sometimes that's harder because I'm the ice cream man and you guys have to be there every day. I feel your pain. I feel your pain. But the more faces that success has, the more likely success is sustainable. They say success has 1,000 fathers and failure has none. So
Right.
we're the ones that get to tell the story. And if we don't tell the story first and fast, someone else is going to tell it. And they're likely to get it wrong. And that's a frustrating thing. So you've got the devices, to tell the stories with.
Can I stop you real quick? So, Stacia, I just got your comment, and please know we were not taking you as negative at all. That was a great question. Stacia was afraid that she came off as negative, but no.
No. We all deal with that.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
And again, pulling together people into community is the thing I keep thinking about. Rather than thinking about administration being one way and us being another and classroom teachers being another, every time I want to think that way, and sometimes I do because I get tired and I get frustrated and I have to take a deep breath and drink more coffee or something. But the more inclusive we can be, the better. And a lot of times when I'm talking about that would-be advocate, you're really being inclusive of them because they're not really integrating yet. They're kind of taking a toe in the water, and you're saying, "Wow, look at you swim," And that's what you do with kids too. You find them amazing until they are. And it's a slow human process.
I like that. I like it. Find them amazing until they are. That's awesome.
That's a good tweet. Yeah.
That is. Somebody tweet that. Tag Kevin. Hashtag GISD learning. So I got a question that came in from Val, and she is looking for some a practical tool in her class. So she has some devices. She says, do you have a math program or software that you might suggest easy access to use in the classroom?
What grade level?
She teaches 5th grade.
What math program or app would be good for 5th? Twitter.
He's probably tweeting it. He's probably tweeting it.
I am, because I like, look, if I like you, I'll tell you what I think. If I love you, I'll tell you what my thousands of teacher practitioner followers think. And so I'm doing that right now so that we can, I want to model what I do. So as this is being tweeted, we're just going to keep watching that, because I can tell you as an art teacher presenter what I think, but who am I? Let's get some math teachers in here into this question, and let's find the ones who've been using that app for 2 years already, who vetted it. So to me, that's powerful. So let's see, her name's Val. Val, hi Val. So when we have a question like that, please come to me, DM me. Hey Kevin, can you ask this question? Yes, I will. In the meantime, let's grow your following so that you never need me again, but I'll be there for you whenever you want. If you say @KevinHoneycutt and ask that same question, and I want to make sure you ask it, because you'll ask it better than me. I'll ask it and I might mess it up. But what's important is to have an audience. And the other thing I like to do, Val, is I make a Google Doc that says best math apps and tools for the 5th grade classroom, and then I invite all those people on Twitter to help me build that page. And then I retweet that once every few months, because new apps are invented in between the time we said that and now, so it stays fresh. So I have whole pages like that, and I keep there, and people will help you do that because it's a shared resource thereafter. So for a while I kept wondering, why are people helping me? Then I realized they're helping themselves. They have it too, you know. So we could ask that question right now and build a Google Doc if you want that to go into the future. So they say the smartest person in the room is the room. Well, when you have a network, the network is the room.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll keep watching to see what answers we get.
That's great. So I got a question here from Rachel. Let me see what it says. Okay. What is the best way to find out what my other classroom teachers, so in her campus, not on Twitter, but what is the best way to find out what my other classroom teachers are doing since I am in my own self-contained classroom? I think Twitter could work, but it's a great question to not kind of seem like I'm Big Brother, like what are you doing, you know, kind of a thing. So
right, you know, every culture is different, and so some people are more likely to do some things than others, and so I would try a variety of things. But one of the things I like, guys, we ask kids, right, to reflect, don't we? We ask them to do metacognition and to think about thinking. We ask all of those things. Do we ask our teachers to? So what if they journaled? Now, they journaled, right, with their phone on a Friday, a weekly wrap-up. What worked this week and why? There's the question. What worked this week and why? And it's okay if they want to say what didn't work too. That's okay. But now they do these things and they post them to YouTube, to a private channel just for you guys, right? And this can become a place where new headlines pop out, where you guys see stuff that's better than the teacher thinks it is. You know how often a teacher does something miraculous and they think, well, everyone does that, and they're wrong? That it is miraculous? You could catch those moments this way. Now, I like this idea because I can hold up my phone in 5 minutes I'm done. In 2 minutes I'm done, if I want to be, right? So if now you know your culture. Some won't do it, or give them choices. You can post it here or you can post it here. I don't care how you post it, but before you go home on Friday, the last thing you do is you hand this in, or you decide how. And once a week there's a drawing and someone gets dinner for two at Applebee's, or something you can afford. Right? Maybe you take the money that comes from Booster Club and you go ahead and build a little, you know, a little shelf full of the gifts that they're going to get. And it's okay if they're campy, It's more. It's not the trophy. It's the awards ceremony. Star Wars, the first one, ended with that big awards ceremony. But those medals probably had chocolate in them. I don't know. But you know, they were proud. So I'm a big fan of the big awards ceremony because you have the power. There. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh no, that's great. I want to make sure we're getting. I think some people are catching up. We're getting some questions pouring in. So this is I like this next question. It's from Andrea. So her question is this: how much is too much technology in the classroom? There are so many apps that are awesome. We love, Apple, and we love technology. But what is the balance between, face-to-face teaching and technology?
That is $1 million question, and a really good one. And I think it's one to have with your groups that you support, because you're going to find opinions are all over the map. If I'm a teacher who's very comfortable with technology, I might be integrating technology on this level that's sort of really, really fast. Now, if I can get ahead of my own students, I think this thing happens where we fall so much in love with shopping for apps, we don't do anything with apps. You know the people who are on Twitter who they're almost addicted to the daily headline. An educator has to dig in and actually do real things. Now, so I think this is a good question to ask, but when you're asking people for evidence and you're saying, what are you doing that you're proud of, I have to slow down for a minute and look at what I did, not the next 3 things I think I'm going to do. But you're talking about, I guess, a brake pedal and an accelerator? Right? If all we have is an accelerator, we're going to blow the wheels off this thing. And every teacher is going to be different, and different kids have different learning styles. I think it's great to let your Jedis go fast if they want to go fast, but I'd like to slow them down so they don't get ahead of their own culture. You can get so far out in front, you lose people. I think it's very important that we talk to people about bringing the tribe along, not getting a 50 miles out front and then blaming them for being behind. But no, let's grow at human speed, right? It's sustainable speed. And for those, we have a couple of Jedis in my district who are so fast, I can't keep up with them. I can't keep up with them. You have to feed them different. And I think they can't get all of their food from the classroom. We send them to conferences. We invest in them in different ways because they must express this need they have to learn the next thing. But I think in the classroom with real human children, sometimes that can go too fast. And that's not wrong to say we're going to slow down to human speed. Please keep blogging. Keep expressing yourself in social.
So Kevin froze again. So we are, is he back? Almost? No. That was a great question. I think that as he's talking, what I'm kind of thinking of is that it's not about the technology, right? It's not about the tool. It's about what you can do. It's about the learning. So I think you're back, right? Okay. Right.
Yeah, that's it. And you keep pointing back to that right there. I think part of what I recommended one time, and we did this in my district with the first iPads that came out, a use lease agreement. So the teachers reported on a Google spreadsheet the apps they were using and the results they were seeing. And then if they filled this out, they got more apps, they got more budget, and we built it so they had to earn. Because if I gave you $1 million and said, get any app you want to, you'd lose your mind. You'd become addicted to buying apps. You know what I mean? And that is, I swear to God, that's a legitimate addiction. In my job, I have to slow down and learn how to use the apps, because it's info-whelm, I call it, info-whelm. Too much information.
Yeah,
right?
You're so on the right track. And what we at our last big I3 we had a think tank day that they came to. We really talked about that, how it's, you connect it to the standards, you keep in mind where you're going, and then you support that, but you're doing it in a digital way. But it's not about, I have to use the latest and greatest app. It's about the learning. So.
And there's an arrogance that happens accidentally, and I've seen it before at conferences. Oh, you're still using that? Yeah. Oh, well, the new thing is Periscope. There's an elite cognoscente that it develops if you let it. I think you've got to keep this discussion community.
Yeah, I am using it, and it's making a difference in my class. That's awesome.
Right.
All right.
That should be the determiner. Go ahead.
Yeah. A couple more I want to wrap. I know we only have you. It's 4:30, but I want to get 2 more in, if that's okay.
Okay.
So this is from Coach Jordan. Hey, Coach.
Hi, Coach.
how do we motivate busy teachers to attend non-mandatory training sessions?
I've tried everything from briskets to door prizes, but I think if you honor them and give them things they need, over time they'll want to come. The other thing is I like to let in those meetings the teachers present, and there be a roster rotating. Because when Mrs. Johnson is going to present, her two friends are going to come because they're her friends, and so you're sort of honoring classroom experience. That's one. And two, make a list of things they need, and make sure they're on the agenda, and that way they're not just coming to a meeting they've been asked to come to, but they need to come to. So even if it sounds boring, if you're doing some really cool, stellar things, but you have Printer 101, or you have those are crazy. I know they're level 1, level 2 tech support things, but I promise you, some people are going to go, I gotta know that. I'm tired of that problem. So if you had them make a list of the most frustrating tech interactions they have, and you guys put them all down on a piece of paper,
Right.
and then made your agenda out of that for the year, you'd say we're going to attack your questions all year long and make sure every agenda has some things that are here for you to help you solve daily problems. We got yearly challenges and daily problems. And those are called two different things. And put those daily problems at the very end of the agenda.
Yeah. So you can hit them with the good stuff, and then make sure you address before they leave.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I have a question that's specific, but it's good. It's from Barbara. What interactive apps do you suggest for students who require nearly one-to-one monitoring with regard to internet due to inappropriate web surfing or CPS restrictions of the use of social media? So that's a pretty specific question, but yeah.
It is. And that one I would throw out to all of my tech support guys and girls that I'm connected to around the world. I would want to ask that on Twitter, because this is a changing landscape. You guys know when you first started integrating, there was one tool that you liked, and then there was a better one, and then there was a better one. So honestly, I don't even know what we currently use in my district. So rather than answer that question with a guess, I want to ask that very question on Twitter and have us all watch and see what some of the best people in the world are doing. And this is going to vary some if you have variations in technology that you're using. Some things work best with an iPad. Some things work best, on the server level. Let's ask that question in a bigger way, because this is a legitimate question, and it's a daily headache question in my district too. Because every time we learn how to shut one port to keep that one kid from doing that one thing, they're so freaking clever. They're like border collies. They dig holes under the fence and nothing works. And so this is an ongoing challenge. You guys all know that. But I think we can't let that lead the news. We got to agree that there have been kids doing things they shouldn't do and going places and seeing things before there was technology. But it's a commitment we have, and it's an ongoing commitment that we're going to have. Let's ask the question in a bigger way, and I want to make sure I get the question right, Brian. So let's get that question right in a tweet real quick. Let me just ask that. So, what is that? Help me ask that question.
Yeah. So she said, what interactive apps do you suggest for students who, well, she says, have required near one-to-one monitoring due to CPS restrictions was a big one. So CPS restrictions of social media, or perhaps they've already gotten in trouble for inappropriate web surfing. So Barbara, when he asks that question on Twitter, you would want to go to @KevinHoneycutt and watch his feed. Or are you going to tag that with the hashtag, Kevin?
Okay, let's do that.
Maybe you could tag it with GISD I3, so that's a common hashtag that we use.
Okay, got it. Now what interactive apps are best for students who require near one-to-one monitoring due to CPS restrictions or other types?
Honestly, if they have a legal restriction, then there's your answer. Like you just really can't use social media if they have that. But yeah.
Now I'll tell you this. I know some schools, have a policy where you mess up once, parents are coming in, you're having a conversation, you mess up twice, you lose the device. Now I don't like that, because you can't teach teach them how to use the device without the device, but there are times when it's just, you know, you don't have that person there to monitor, and you are liable.
The age-old
and
question
so-
of if they pass notes, are you going to take away their pencil, right? You know, it's kind of, but it's all about education. But of course, like when you get into the legal thing, Barbara, that's just going to have to be something, you know, that's if it's in their IEP or if it, whatever it is, you know, you obviously have to follow that. But there's tons you can do on devices without connecting.
But what I want Barbara to do, you know, I was
Yeah.
recently at a special ed conference, and we had lots of conversations like this at the special ed conference about the access and the law. There were attorneys there. It gets really finicky, and it gets a little bit scary. But what I want to make sure Barbara is surrounded by other practitioners who've been there. Some will be behind her and some will be ahead of her, but there's a continuum. And you know, I really trust the people who deal with this daily, who have those answers. So I want to make sure, boy, if she's on Twitter, I want her to hit special ed hashtags, whatever hashtags lead to her group, her constituent group of people who deal with this every day, until she's a Jedi master, because she has so many great connections.
All right, bud. I am so sorry. We're 7 minutes over. I know you are a busy guy and you got to get home to your little baby. But thank you so much for your time.
Oh, this has been fun. I want to do it again.
Oh, well, please, let's do it. Maybe next semester we could plan a time. We would love that. Thank you to the I3s for joining in and giving of your time. We know it's been a long day, long week. So
I3s, you're awesome. I love what you're doing, okay? And I honor your work. It's not easy.
So,
Bye.
all right, connect with Kevin on Twitter. He's serious. He will definitely follow you back and work with you. So, all right, bye guys. Y'all have a good night. Thanks, Kevin.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.